My dear brothers and sisters, today, the 2nd September, and we are given a topic by the church to speak on Mary, especially how Mary meets us in the liturgy. Now, when we talk about this, we are also the whole document in the Vatican II is called Sacrosanctum Concilium. And in that document, Mary meets Jesus and Mary meets all of us. Mary meets God in this liturgy. Now, first and foremost, we can always think that any person who is so committed to God and who says, let it happen to me, whatever you say, that means her attention, her ears, her mind is always towards God. And throughout the day, that whatever she hears, she also has to be careful listening to that God because she has to fulfill that word. And so, throughout the day, she's already involved in that God thanking and praising and glorifying. So, she always has some sort of song in her mouth, always singing. So, which means she's praising and glorifying God every day of her life. We must really understand how Mary can really become so attached to God is always because Mary has been committed. And in those days, we can also see from the childhood how she was one with God in the temple itself. Now we can understand the constitution of Vatican II and talks about Jesus and Mary and how they have become one because it is not only during her conception but also after life also she has been totally committed praising God through her words and also through her actions and moral behavior. And because of that, we can, how she meets us, that when we really, first and foremost, listen to the liturgy. Now, liturgy is what the whole mystery, the so-called the Paschal mystery of Christ, the suffering, death, and resurrection of Jesus. She has become so attached to that she really participates in that wholeheartedly. And that is how we too also again and again really needs to really glorify God for all things that are happening in our life. Now, we can understand that Mary really becomes one with the Paschal mystery. And we are called to participate totally ourselves with our words, with our actions, and also with our moral behavior, so that we can socially and morally become one with the world, and the world can really be lifted up. My dear brothers and sisters, second most important thing is that Jesus in her life also helps Mary because we can see the fruits of redemption already been fulfilled in the life of Mary. And she's been glorified after her life on earth. And she become the queen of heaven. It's all that the fruits of this redemption in her life. And she also participates with us and telling us if we join her in that, perhaps we will be fully glorified with our whole mind, body, and spirit. Now, what is important here is that we are all called to participate in our Sunday liturgy and also weekly liturgy, because through that participation that we become one with Mary, and Mary leads us to Jesus, and Jesus leads us to our own salvation. And so therefore, during that Mass on Sundays or weekdays, there's always the liturgy, the Word of God, and also our response to that Word. So, how do we listen and how do we really immerse into that liturgy so that we, throughout the day, carry on that word in our life? And then the last important thing is how we are called to really be a witness like Mary, to really show that we are fully involved through our body, spirit, and through our mind. Because unless we become one with the whole reality of the Paschal mystery and we really show in actions, that we cannot be fully in it. And so, therefore, Mary tells us that our whole self should be fully immersed into the liturgy. When Jesus himself came into this world and he was fully immersed into that reality that he did not care for life, but he happily gave his life on the cross and suffered just to fulfill the word of God in his life.